Damn, I didn't think I'd be doing one of these so quick again. But yeah, I felt like there's no better time than now because after the last, after that last podcast where I went off on all them many ramblings and tangents about meditation, I probably watched it like 3 times, which is it's a lot of self indulgence to watch yourself talking to random people 3 times uh, for a 2 hour podcast. But um, I think my heart and my intentions were in the right place because I wanted to share that, and I just want people to benefit from what I'm benefit from whatever is happening to me, to where I can really see I can just see this life or perceive life with clarity. So I watched it. I recorded it the day before my birthday, which was March 21st, and I ended up watching it after, and it was just kind of like, all right, man, you're all over the place, rambling at times, but I feel that there were just beautiful moments, you know what I mean? And I kept it as is. And then the next morning, on the day of my birthday, I ended up listening to it again, just because I just don't want to fail miserably at delivering that type of message. But then at the same time, I don't even know what I want from this podcast as far as the content of it. I know that I've been listening to podcasts for years, and I've been benefiting. I've been benefiting from them, and I know that choosing your own content is such a huge part of someone's development. When you go onto your phone and you're not programmed to listen to something or to enjoy something, but you purposely choose something for your mind to absorb. I know that to, I just want to contribute to that. And I said a lot of deep shit. I spoke from a lot of ignorance too, because like I said so many times in that podcast, I'm not a historian and I'm not a guru and I'm not a teacher, but I am a human and I am sensible and I am logical. And if anybody ever knew me personally, they know that this ain't even in my character. So for me to even get up on a camera is kind of left field to start talking and then to be talking about the subjects that I'm talking about. That is scary. That's scary for me. And I'm sure if any of my homies see it or anybody who cares for me who doesn't hear me speak about this personally to them, it's probably scary for them. Like, damn, this fool done lost his mind. But I'm going to continue to play that part because I think that all of this information, it needs to be heard. And yes, let me go over this one more time. There is plenty more people on YouTube who can give you all of the actual origins and the facts and everything that I'm finding out what I'm practicing. But the reason why I came onto here was because something happened, and I'm apprehensive to share it because I don't know. I guess there's a vulnerable side of my mind that's kind of like in motion right now, and it was a very scary happening. And I'm gonna call it a happening because I don't know what it was. I really don't. Um, but when I came out of it, every single thing that I spoke of prior to that happening just seemed to resonate with me even more as far as like things that I know to be fact, without being that historian or that scientist or without being one of those figures who's from a place of great means and talking about, oh, all of this stuff is fact. That's how I got into this house or whatever. All of that will come. And like I said, I don't even know the actual purpose of this podcast as far as the content goes. I'm not trying to be one of those people. I'm not trying to be one of those get like me people. But I'm also not trying to be like everybody else out here, man. And this has been like the most amazing string of events to get me to even get onto this camera. But today's episode Let's not even call it an episode. I just need to talk. On my birthday, I had this happening, and it's unexplainable. And if I try to explain it, and the actual feeling of the moment, then it just comes off as like, oh, maybe you just had a health problem or something happened. Because there was a point in time of me going through this that I literally, with everything I have, in all honesty, I thought I was dying. Thought I was dying. And it was happening at the most random fucking time on my 35th birthday. And I came out of it, and I went upstairs and I just laid down to some natural frequencies. And the next day I woke up, and it just seems like it was for a reason. And I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was. I spoke about these spells that I was getting over my journey of finding meditation, to where I would have the most uncomfortable feeling and fear surging through my body. And I know that it was just me exfoliating that from my natural existence. And so I thought that maybe that's what it was, because after listening to the podcast the 2 or 3 times, I realized, like, man, as pretty and as shiny I would like the delivery to be, and I know all the improvement I have as far as speaking in front of a camera. I know all the improvement that must be made, and to take on all that self ridicule and just be like, okay, man, if you're going to convey these important messages, you got to be clearer and you got to be more concise. Taking all that, I knew what I was doing was like the truest form of contribution for me as a human, to get on and just be like, look, man, there's something inside of us. There's something in all of us. And just to have that, to be, without even sounding corny, to be compelled to start talking about it and telling people about it. It is from this place of, I just want to contribute to people's lives. And when I sit back and I visualize being a millionaire, and all my life I think about all the times that I sat back and we daydreamed about hitting the lottery, or we daydreamed about if we were ever lucky to become millionaires, there was always this side of philanthropy that excited the fuck out of me. That it was like, it would have been more to go and give that to people rather than just keep it for myself. I've always felt like that, even as a kid, and even right now when I'm working on these goals and on this music and these movies I'm writing, and all of this creativity, all of my daydreaming and all of my fantasies about wealth. It's not about self. It's just so I can provide and I can show people, like, look, man, like, you can get this and you can live with passion. So going back to what I felt, that was the highest thing I can contribute right now, because I am a man of very meager means right now. You know what I'm saying? If I walk by a homeless man and I got some change in my pocket, it's yours. But the majority of the time now, I'm giving you the last change out of my pocket. So I don't have this endless resource to where I can go out and start contributing as a philanthropist financially. And now I'm very much a person who wants to contribute. I want to not just leave a legacy of like success or of content, but I want to contribute. And it's something that's deep into my heart. And I didn't realize that me doing that podcast, I mean, the last 2 podcasts, all of that questionable shit aside, all of me being just really shaky in front of the camera and me not knowing every single thing that I'm quoting, but I know that it resonated within my soul and that it made sense to me and that I'm a very logical person. I'm just not this fucking like memory whiz to where I remember everything I saw, or I just can put it all in chronological order, because I didn't realize that that I should have been documenting it if I was going to convey the message. So I take this and I look at, before this happening, it wasn't like I was feeling good about myself, but I was feeling good about my contribution. I was like, look, man, one person could find that, and that one person can go off and just their whole entire existence can get completely turned around, just a 180, and they're completely altered individuals just consciously, and they could even keep their faith. You could keep your faith in whatever it is you believe in, and I could just contribute to you. And so I felt good about that. I felt really, really good about that. And I was like, look, man, there's got to be something to you wanting to do it. So I left it alone. All of my vulnerable state, all of that shit just melted away. And I said, the message is in there. And then we get to the night of my birthday, which is March 22nd. I just turned 35. I was sitting down in the kitchen, and my aunt and my daughter, they were in the next room. And I was just like, listening to music and just enjoying a moment. And I started having one of these perceived spells, but it was so intense, and it got so scary that like I started panicking. It was like my whole body started doing these like these crazy, like violent vibrations started coming through me. And like I put my headphones up on my head, and they were being held up here, and it felt like that was like crushing my fucking head. Like it got fucking scary. And I took off the headphones and I set them down on the counter, and I'm like, whoa, what is this? And I'm just waiting for it to pass. I'm like, oh, how ironic, you just spoke about how far and few in between these little spells are, and you have it today on your birthday. And the spell just got so fucking intense. And it got to the point to where I felt it come up through my body, and it pressured my head, and my eyes started like feeling like they were going to pop out. And my ears started ringing, and everything started going black and like vibrating these weird colors. And I wasn't taking it as like, oh, this spiritual happening. I wasn't taking it as like, oh, this is part of a process. I took it as, what did I fucking do? What's going on here? And so I stand up in a panic, and I'm telling myself, like, you're going to get through this. You're going to get through this. Now, here's where it gets even scarier. And here's where it just shows how conditioned we all are without us even willingly knowing it or willingly being a part of it. Because, like I keep saying about the Christian and the Catholic teachings and all that, I never bought into it. I never bought into it. I had discussions about this way before I ever even learned about any of this stuff, right? I want to say this real quick. Before I ever watched a JRE podcast, because I just barely got up on those a couple years ago. Before I ever like heard any of these people speak of symbolism in the Bible, that was a natural thought to me. I would hear shit as a kid, or I would hear shit in my teens, and I'd always be like, what if it's not an actual literal story? I used to just ponder those thoughts. And of course, I'd always discredit myself because I'm like, who am I to even have such thoughts? So I was just like, okay, that's just my own feeling. I don't know of any validation to that, okay? So back to this fucking fearful happening starts going on. And in the middle of this, I literally thought I was going to die. Like, it crossed my mind. I was like, damn, you're going to die right after releasing this podcast and speaking of so much power of the mind and so much power within yourself. And it was like, I don't know how long this spell lasted, but I remember having all of these instantaneous thoughts and battles with myself, and finding a ground and just sticking to it, because my head started fucking like going like crazy. I don't know how to explain it. It was like violent vibrations. And all of this ringing came into my ears, and my eyes went black, like my sight left. And I just started like, I don't know. And honestly, I think if somebody would have recorded it, they would have been like, damn, this fool, he was possessed by something. But I don't even want to use those negative fucking terms at all. Because while in this thought, I was literally a millisecond. There was something that was keeping me from screaming out and telling my aunt to come in here and go take me to a hospital. And I just started having all that fear coming because my baby's in the next room. And I was on here and I was speaking about all of these ancient teachings and the pineal gland and all of this shit that being suppressed gods and all of this stuff, that the fear of the indoctrination, even though I was unwillingly indoctrinated, came into my heart. And I sat, and in an instantaneous moment of battling to where I'm thinking I am going to die on my 35th birthday, it hit my mind, and I was like, what if this is Here we go, the vengeful God. What if this is the vengeful God? What if this is, you were so wrong and you were so just out of order for preaching what's happening to me? I'm not preaching any faith. I'm preaching what's going on to me. I'm not even telling you what I know is to be the way for you. I'm telling you what's going on with me with meditation. And someone who was so depressed and could not see themselves as a higher being as yourself needs to see yourself. I want to convey that to people to where you guys can all see yourselves how the fuck you're supposed to see yourself. And we can all get out of this vortex of mediocrity. We could all get out of these circles of group thinking. We can all get out of society's constructs and actually live a life for ourselves and for our children. And so that's all I wanted. That's all I've been wanting to share. And within this happening on my birthday, all of that shit was questioned. I was in the middle of I swear on my life, I thought I was gonna die. And instead of screaming out, "Hey, you guys gotta take me to the hospital," I put my head down while I was standing up because I was just fucking my whole body was just doing some weird shit, and my eyes were going black. And the one thing that kind of started making me calm down a tiny bit was the frequencies, that loud squealing pitch. It sounded like one of those frequencies I would meditate to, or it sounded like the I don't know the exact hertz because there's so many of them that I choose to meditate to at times, and I think it was like the miracle tone. It sounded like the miracle tone. If I'm not wrong, I think it's 532 hertz, and so that was crazy to me. That was crazy to me. So this is all going on within the like I'm saying, within the matter of just split seconds. I'm having these thoughts. Well, this is a miracle tone in your head. But why am I seeing darkness, and why does it feel like I'm gonna fall flat on the ground? And so I just put my head on the ground, or excuse me, I put my head on the stove, and the whole entire time, my daughter and my aunt's in the next room. Nobody has any ideas that there is a happening going on, just fucking 15 feet away from them. And when I put my head down, all of this fear of doubting myself came to my head. And it was like, what if this is a vengeful God? You're going to die. This is how crazy our mind works. You're going to die right now at 35. When you felt younger, you felt more vibrant, you felt more healthier, you felt more quote unquote woke. You're going to die right now. And if you don't accept that you were wrong, that's why you're going to die. And within this moment, I wasn't going to accept that I was wrong, because I stood my ground. We're free will thinkers. We're free will beings. Even though there is a God, there is a creator or whatever, we don't have to sit there and live in fear because of scripture that has been manipulated to program you rather than to free you. And I can't explain how those thoughts came through my head within seconds of fear, of really feeling like my brain was just going to blow up in my fucking skull and I was just going to die. Scary fucking thought. Scary feeling. Like the scariest shit I've ever been through in my life. I've looked down the barrel of a pistol when I was a kid, and I had these fucking gangbangers pull it out, and I was 14 years old, and I thought I was going to die then, and that was pretty scary. And I've had people shoot at me, and I've been involved in crazy car crashes. Never been the driver. 2 of those car crashes were extremely bad. One was a rollover where I got tossed from the actual vehicle. My foot was almost ripped off. The other one was another rollover where we rolled, I think the police said we rolled 6 times, 5 or 6 times. And in that rollover, I felt the roof of the car come crack open my skull. And literally, just nothing but, blood on my hands looking down. I was not that scared. None of this was as scary as a few nights ago on my birthday. I thought it was done. It was over. And so in my moment, I'm thinking, why now? Why would it happen like this? That human side of me, that conditioned side of me started saying, oh, well, what if this is that vengeful God? What if this is that vengeful God? And I was able to clear that out. And once again, I hear my daughter laugh in the next room. And And that beautiful voice, man, she just laughed, and and then it was like the ringing subsided, the pressure went down, my vision came back, and I was still had my head down on the stove surface, and I kind of felt like, more stability come to my body. And I took a deep breath, and I swear, without even sounding crazy, and I don't want to be disrespectful, and it's not coming from a place of arrogance, but like the next thought was like, you ain't gonna get me like that. I don't know if it was like a test. I don't know if it was an awakening. I don't know what it was. But after that, I just felt like I'm just gonna go upstairs. I didn't say anything to anybody. I didn't even fucking utter one word. I didn't say help, even though it was the scariest moment of my life, and nobody knows that this happened except for my daughter, because I felt compelled to tell her about it yesterday after I found this new piece of information, just by continuing to research this and continuing to look up stuff. And if somebody would have asked me about the Bible just the day that I recorded the podcast about meditation, my outlook was always like, how did they know so much, right? Even though ancient civilizations prove that they knew something that we don't know, okay? But the Bible, and look, I came to this conclusion in my teens. Before I ever heard any of these brilliant people speak about it, before anything, I came to the conclusion myself. I remember telling it was my sister or my brother, and for some reason it was talked about, and I said, but look, if I tell you a story, and you go back and you tell that same story to every single kid in our elementary, or in our school at the time, because I do remember, I think I was like 12 or 13, and they come back, and they tell me the same story I told you, there's gonna be changes. Someone either changes it up to look cooler in the moment, or somebody just added shit. I knew that at 12 or 13. Like, I knew that. So I was clueless to like the actual history of the Bible and how it was even around for 1,000 years before it was written down. So all of these validations have came to me. They've come to me over a span of me just being curious and thinking for myself and not wanting to like fall into anything. Yet every single time I prayed, I pictured a dude in a robe, and every single time like I felt like I was in fear, I would call on God, and I listened to all of my music leading up till now, and there is a lot of like Christianity or like Catholicism within certain language. Pray to God, pray to Jesus, help me Mary. I was saying all that blindly. I didn't know what the fuck I was saying. It was just something that was just like, okay, that's what you do. But yet I always had this side of me that was like, but we don't know that. We don't know for a fact. And it being a bunch of stories that's been passed down, how do I know that they were free from any of man's manipulation? So that was something I kind of wanted to clear up, because honestly, after watching the past couple episodes, I was like, yo, I don't want to look like some JRE knockoff, because honestly, that's alignment. That's crazy alignment that I've had so many fucking thoughts of my own as a child, as a kid, as a young man. And even when I became a 21-year-old, I felt like I just became a child again, because I didn't know shit. And I've had all of these thoughts, and I've had all of these mental processes I've gone through, and then God bless me, or whatever it was, to where fucking I get hip to what podcasts are, and then I remember fucking coming across the Joe Rogan podcast and just playing it, because I was just tired of just hearing about entertainment news. I was tired of, and I never watched TV. That was something that I was so blessed to have made that decision myself. Like in 2005, I'm only 22 years old, and I made the conscious decision to say, hey, I don't want to own a TV anymore. And I didn't own a TV purposely for 10 years. I was Netflixing and curating my own content before I even knew of that's basically what I'm doing, like choosing what's going in your mind. So I've always had this mind that worked like this. I've always like been infatuated with like the supernatural. I've always been infatuated with what science can explain, but yet I'm just as fascinated with science, because science is magic. All of this shit around us is magic. We want to believe in like superheroes and shit, but we're all superheroes. So that mentality of mine has led me to where that's why I wanted to do the meditation. That's why I kind of wanted to expand all this, because I always felt like there was something more. But back to whatever the fuck happened, I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was. But the next day, when I woke up on the 23rd, I woke up, and every single thing that I spoke to you guys about being gods and creators and all of that shit, and every single thing that I told you guys about the meditation, I like woke up and I felt even more certain about that. Like I was contributing even more than what I thought. And that this isn't about getting on here and becoming like a fucking famous it was not podcaster. It's not about that. I was compelled. I was compelled to speak about how my thoughts became my things, and my things became hell on earth. Hell on earth. And now, with meditation, all of these thoughts are becoming this glorious reality that you just see it for yourself. That happiness comes to you not through anything that you think you need to go and obtain or achieve. That you can have that within you, and then everything else that you've attained or achieved, you can truly just be like, that's beautiful, and that just comes with the territory. That's nothing that I was chasing. So that's what I wanted to share with people, and it's scary. It's scary. It's scary to get on here and tell you guys that after I made such a divine contribution that came from somewhere, that came from me wanting to contribute something, because like I said, man, if I got one person meditating, if one person right now was listening to the Headspace app because I suggested it or they heard it come from me, then that's divine intervention. You know what I'm saying? That is what it is. But yet the next day I thought I was going to die. And it made me everything in that instantaneous battle for life and death made me question the very surface I was standing on, from a literal sense to a moral sense to a metaphysical sense to everything that I'm beginning to truly believe in, to actually believe in something, to have a connection with God that is worth believing in. I'm not told to believe that. I wasn't told to be fearful of this God and you better love this God. I wasn't told that. I found that. So the next day, I had this new frequency. Oh, that's what I'm going to call it. Like this brand new frequency to be like, you know what? I'm not misleading anybody. I'm not doing this with any ill will towards anybody. I'm not trying to offend anybody. All I'm saying is, I think that you are being suppressed. I don't know why I can't say that word right on the camera. You are being suppressed by the very fucking thing that you are forced to have faith in. And that you can go within yourself and find it. And you can come out of yourself and still have that same faith, but with conviction now, not with instruction, not with being told to have that, not with being indoctrinated from a tiny free will being. And now you're my age and you hear me speak about this stuff and you just think that I'm fucking either satanic or I'm out of my mind or I'm grasping at straws, and that's fine. That's totally fine, because rightfully so. I'm not here to shock the system. I'm just here to hopefully someone can take a piece of information and they shock their own system. They know what it is to look at themselves and see who they are. And after such a scary happening, I'm more confident than I've ever been with anything in life as far as shedding this information. And now I feel so compelled to speak and to give it to people without sounding like some pretentious asshole who has it all figured out, because I don't. But something happened to me. And it was a direct depiction of, it could either be the scariest process, and you could perceive yourself as dying, and you could come out of it reborn, reinvigorated. Who knows? I don't know what the symbolism of that happening was, and I don't know what it was, but after the next day, me feeling this new frequency, an even higher frequency than I was already tapping into, and me having this confidence, I find it more than funny and more than coincidental that I come across more of these teachings of what, when I spoke of Jim Carrey talking about meditation, he wasn't talking about the sacred secretion that he's going around and he's speaking of now. And he's talking about, you know, where he just goes off on this tangent in these fucking interviews where he's like comparing the vertebrae and the spine to the age of Christ, and like, you know, the claustrum to the Santa Claus, and all these mythical legends that we still teach our children actually derives from a happening within the brain. I am not in no shape or form saying that's what happened to me, but I find it to be very, very interesting that the next day after this happening came on my birthday, and that day all I had was vegetables. It was just like a couple green drinks, and unknowingly I've been doing intermittent fasting. It was just how my biological clock was working, how I felt. Damn, I made myself sound like a fucking woman trying to get pregnant. But anyway, it was the timing of my physiology. It felt good to not eat breakfast, to work out, and to eat like eat my first meal after like 12 o'clock in the day. And so that's just what felt normal for my physiology. It just felt good. If I wake up in the morning and I eat, I get really tired. Well, unknowingly, I end up finding out this new thing that people kept talking about, intermittent fasting, and that's all it is like you give yourself a 16-hour window where you don't eat anything. And so I started timing what time I'm eating dinner at night and then what time I'm eating. And I was like, damn, you're going like 16, 17, 18 hours at times. And it was good. It was just the way I felt. I wasn't starving, you know. Motherfucker would still smoke weed every now and then and go and eat a whole bag of Doritos. So I was definitely still eating bullshit. But getting back to this happening, I happened to be just like, I don't know what it is because I don't want to compare it. But I do know that unknowingly I have been going through these mini fasts. And I know that fasting has a lot to do with our spirituality, has a lot to do with our awakenings and stuff like that. And also, they were talking about like if the signs moving through your birthday. Now, I don't know about all this shit, but something happened to me on my fucking birthday. And and you know what? I swear on my daughter, I would never come out here and like speak some bullshit. And all it's done is made me realize like I need to get up on here more and people can see this process, because if it's happening to me and it's a beautiful happening, and I am very much a God thanking man. I'm not a God fearing man. I'm not. I fear the life that we create for ourselves. I fear the life and the thoughts that we create for ourselves. I thank God. I don't pray in anything else but gratitude. So I don't want to come off like, if I get called a Satanist again, or if I get called as like, oh, only Jesus can save you, only Jesus can save you. If I keep getting called out like that, I just feel bad. I feel bad for the people, because I'm like, bro, you don't even know though, like, because your judgment of me isn't your own thoughts. It's what you've been told to judge me as, because I'm speaking outside of it. So I find these teachings referring back to the sacred secretion. Now Jim Carrey's out there rambling. He's found something out, right? That is as ancient as it gets. Okay? And when I heard him speaking about transcendental meditation, he wasn't talking about the awakening. He didn't say anything about the sacred secretion. He didn't say anything about the chrism, the Christ within us. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that, oh fuck, this is what's happening to me. But there's a reason why when my daughter asked me about the Bible, I would just tell her like, it's just hard for me to believe in so many stories that have lasted for so long, that have been passed through so many languages and passed through so many deceptive men. But I always knew there's something to Jesus. There's something to that figure and to those teachings, because what resonated, well, not resonated, but what I always thought was, you know, where there's smoke, there's fire. Like, there has to be something to it. There has to be something to it. And why would it be so many thousand years later, and I know that they took in a black Jesus or an Arabic Jesus or whatever, they took in the actual Jesus, and they have whitewashed it, and they have done the white man's doing to it. I've been aware of that my whole entire life. I used to think about that shit as a kid, like, well, then why would he have blue eyes? Before I even saw a fucking documentary or any of this shit, these were natural thoughts to me in my youth. So, the sacred secretion, I find out about this the day after I have this happening to me. And now I started looking into it, and I start finding out all of the names and everything that's going on in our brain and physiology when one does have an awakening, when one does find their God inside and one does connect with this God. And it makes me look at the Bible as something so much more beautiful. Because I told this before I even got on this quest. I told my daughter back in Utah, I said, I think that the Bible could be like one of the greatest self-help books if they would have kept the hate out of it, and if they would have kept the divisiveness out of it, and if it didn't become the very thing that makes us, the majority of us, judge the next man or the next woman or the next lifestyle. And so here I am. I have this happening, and now the Bible has much more representation to me in my life. It has much more, like, not that I was trying to disrespect it to begin with, but there's much more validation to it. And all those little thoughts of me as a minor in my youth, when I would say, well, what if the story isn't actually the story? It was like I was trying to explain to my homies about songs when we were younger, like, yo, you know that song doesn't mean what the fuck he's talking about. There is this, you know what? This is the man. I want to share this right now because, once again, it's just like me coming across the JRE podcast. I don't agree with everything that comes out of Joe Rogan's mouth. I just know that I was a fan of that motherfucker since News Radio. News Radio was a show that would come on when my ass would be sluck in school, and I found it to be very entertaining. And then when Fear Factor came on, I was always like, oh shit, there's Joe Rogan. And I've always been a fan of the UFC. So Joe Rogan has always been this like figure in my life. And when I came across his podcast, I was like, I had no idea this is what this shit was. And you know, I've listened to quite a lot of them, but I don't want to sound like I am regurgitating shit from there. And I don't want to sound like I am just fucking doing like what so-called YouTubers do and just take somebody else's content and act like it's yours. No, because like I said, there's a fine line between where you get your philosophies from and what you do as far as thinking for yourself. So the same thing with this, hold on just a sec. The same thing with this gentleman right here. I just find it very, 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 very strange that after I have this happening, I find this channel and he's speaking about this sacred secretion and about all of the Bible's symbolism and how the baptism comes from within inside. How it's all a self-development book on meditation. And I'm not going to do like I did in the last podcast and I start saying these like actual facts, but I'm saying it from a place of not being like not being a historian or not being an actual, like an educator. That's what it is. Not being an actual educator, so I wasn't giving you all of these facts and all this shit as far as like timelines and what's connected to what. So I don't want to do that. But I will tell you this. Look up this man right here because... And be a student. Be a student. Don't be a follower. I'm not following anything in my life. I'm only following that voice that is within myself. Because all of my thoughts are on contribution. All of my thoughts, all of this shit. Like, my whole entire existence is spent dreaming about what I want to do for my daughter and for other people. And how I want to break the chain in this family. And why can't it be one of us? Why can't we come from nothing and create everything? So it is about contribution. And even though I'm not out here physically building hospitals and helping children or anything like that, my mind, my very thoughts are always on the moment the money is in place all of this will be executed. And it is not, to take from Jesus. To take from Jesus. Exactly, it is teaching someone how to fish. Being a divine fisherman. Not just going and giving all of my cuddies a piece of fish. Not giving my family a piece of fish and being like, look, I got you. Nah. Nah. It's contribution. It's deeper than that. So, as far as my view on the Bible goes, I think that it's a beautiful self-development book that has gotten the hands of the evil, the truly evil, and the all-powerful, who realizes that when they have you in states of group thinking, then they control you. And they can bend your will at their will. They don't want us in group consciousness. Group consciousness. Because group consciousness, all of us are going to detach from all of these structures in life. From all of these fucking societal rules. From all of this fucking shit. And we are going to go off of a moral compass that we already know. And we are going to shed vital parts of our ego that they need to stay alive. They need us to be divisive. They need us to be sheep. They need us to be brainless. And it's starting to make sense. It's starting to make sense. And I'm not all knowing. I'm just all learning. I'm a student of this. So this happens. I don't know what it was. Scariest moment of my life ends up becoming the most blissful feeling the next day when I just have this. I thought I was at a level of clarity, and that next day was like, whoa, this is tapping into something. Don't know what it is. Tapping into something. And this beautiful thing comes to my head. And even though it sums up all of these teachings that I've been teaching myself for years, or I've been learning from others for years about the law of attraction, law of vibration, metaphysical, the quantum level and all that, all of this was summed up into one simple saying that came into my mind. And that one simple saying made all the fucking sense in the world. And now, every single time I say it, I literally get like a vibrational shock through my body. And that is, before anything, there is manifestation. Think about that. As you think about that in doubt, as you think about that in what is he talking about, as you think about that sitting in a room full of ideas that came out of people's minds that you call a house and that you call stuff, what do I mean by that? Before anything, there is manifestation. Let's take it back. At one time, we were all sitting here, except there weren't no walls around us. There wasn't no motherfucking furniture. There wasn't anything but us. Us and this beautiful fucking world that we're blessed to be part of. None of these ideas are here. Your car's not here. Your house ain't here. Your motherfucking table ain't here. Your shoes ain't here. Nothing that we take for granted as everyday stuff, or now material things that aren't as good as the next man's material things, all of that was manifestation. All of that was thoughts becoming things. Our very existence. Now, this is one thing that we can all universally agree on, because whatever you decide to believe, okay? Whether you believe it is the vengeful God, whether you believe it's Allah, whether you believe it's fucking greasy fat dude, Phil, the computer program, and this is all a simulation, whatever the fuck you believe in, this is the one tying theme with all of that, is that all of us, all of this existence, came from the thought of whatever it was that created us. Before anything, there is manifestation. Before anything, there is manifestation. So really think about that. And then think about where you are in your life. Think about where you are in your dreams. Think about where you are as a human. Before anything, there is manifestation. I want you guys to look up this gentleman. I'm not trying to fucking convert anyone. I'm not trying to make anyone uncomfortable. I am so compelled to continue to speak on this, and let me talk about the podcast. I don't know what the fuck or where I'm going with it as far as the content, but this stuff felt more important to me than just becoming another person talking about news or another person talking about hip hop or another person just relaying information. And that's all I'm doing, is I'm relaying information from all these countless others that I have picked it up from and all of these teachings. But within those teachings, I have found myself to be a student, not a follower, because there's a lot of stuff that I was like, okay, it doesn't resonate with me. I'm not going to discredit you for that. I'm just going to move on. But there's a reason why today I'm looking at the Bible in an even greater light. Like, wow, I need to get back in there and start studying it and see it for what I believe it to be. And that is a personal self-development book. Full of all of these stories that don't mean the actual stories like I thought of when I was a child. I didn't get that from anywhere but the fucking divine source, but the universe, who blessed me with the power to think for my fucking self. So, for all the people who are truly fascinated by it, by the Bible and all of the stories and all of that, I just want you to look up this man's channel. And I suck because I need to leave links. I need to go back to my last podcast and do all that shit too. But he listened to this gentleman speak about the sacred secretion and Jesus and all his beautiful ways. And for just a moment, if this is ruffling your feathers, or if you're like, if it's scary, because that should be the theme here. It is scary. It is scary to think about, hey, maybe these thoughts aren't mine. Maybe this reality is bettering someone else's dreams rather than my reality bettering my dreams. Maybe we've all been duped. Maybe we're all just supposed to be workers. And the weird people like me, or just New Age hippies, or whatever the fuck you want to write us off as. There's something to that. There's something to awakening inside yourself and then having to wonder, what the fuck did I just awake? What just woke up inside me? There's also something that I'm not going to dive into, but I hope that just one of you guys look it up. Go find out why the fuck they have us so afraid of snakes. Go find that out. Truly find that out. Don't find that out from your fucking mom. Don't find that out from your dad. Don't find that out from your fucking preacher. Don't find that out from any of your spiritual Go find that out for your motherfucking self. Go find out why the fuck do they have us so afraid of snakes. And look at this gentleman for amazing content. Amazing content. Someone who is still preaching the acts of Jesus, who is still preaching the purpose of Christianity, an actual baptism. Today, Jesus has a lot more fucking oomph in my life now, man. Today, the Bible has a lot more fucking meaning in my life. Something that I was so afraid of, but I was looking. You know what it is? Peep game, listen. Okay. There is a picture that I have seen many, many times on social media where there's one gentleman standing here, there's another gentleman standing here, and there is what looks like him on this side to be a 9 this way, right? 9. And on this side, it looks like he's seeing a 6. And they're both screaming at each other. 9. He knows it to be fact. He knows it to be true. That's all he sees. That is his perception. That's his perspective. That's everything to that man. It is a 9. And the same goes for the other man on the other side. How dare you tell me it's a 9? It's a 6. It's a 6. It's a 6. I want you guys to know that from this day on, I'm forever going to see the Bible as a 6. while the rest of the people are saying, no, it's a 9. It's just the way I'm looking at it now. Because something happened to me, man. Something happened to me, and something's been happening to me. And I even found myself using language that wasn't something that I formulated myself when I was like, we're waking up the God in us, we're waking up in all this. But it is. It's the fucking truth. It's what all these ancient civilizations were doing. It's what they were communicating with the fucking pyramids. Like, look this shit up. Look this shit up. It's being suppressed for a reason. It's being suppressed for a reason. If they want to hide something, hide it in plain sight. They've done it. It's right in front of you. It's in that fucking book. It's on your dollar bill. It's on all of these fucking ancient civilizations that have all had some type of depiction of that special gland up here. And then you're taught to not tamper with it. Right? And they give negative shit meaning, like the occult. How scary does that sound? The moment I would hear the occult, I was like, ooh, devil, whatever. Not even knowing. So once again, give me a moment, please. Oh shit. Okay. Over here. Okay. So once again, look up this gentleman and find out the sacred secretion. Go look up what Jim Carrey's fucking talking about. Because the first time Jim Carrey spoke about it, I was like, I don't know what he's on, but there's something to it. Like I said, all I've been doing is practicing a mindfulness meditation. And it's been getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And I'm starting to see all of these other teachings and how meditation did make it into every single religion. Jesus himself spoke of the third eye. Jesus himself was not a Christian. Okay? Keep that in mind. All of these new age, all of this shit is the new age shit that you guys all call all of us being new age thinkers. No, you gotta think for yourself and you gotta look it up. And that's all I'm trying to say. So look up I don't know how to fucking say his, it's, here, let's see, can you see that? Let's see. I don't know if that even can, no, you can't even see that. Okay, you know what, I'm just gonna leave a link. I'm just gonna leave a link to this man. Look up his contribution to this great world and his thoughts and his actual life that he's living through the practices of Jesus, through the teachings of Jesus, but by going inside, not by sprinkling silly water on. Hey, what do they sprinkle that silly water on, guys? When you get baptized, you think that that's just a fucking coincidence? They sprinkle that water right there? Just think for your motherfucking selves, man. Something's happened to me over here, and it's a gorgeous fucking life. It's a gorgeous life to just look around and just be like, slowly but surely, it's all getting unveiled. I want to end it like this because I'm not going to go on for much longer. Saturday, I went over to my sister's and her boyfriend's house. And they wanted to do like a little birthday dinner for me and whatnot, you know, beautiful time. Had an amazing fucking time, just a beautiful time. And my sister was speaking about my beautiful niece and this acting class, and she started saying something along the lines of she's worried because she's not picking it up or she's not doing anything and like really running with it. And through a small little opening in that conversation, I felt compelled just to ask myself, or excuse me, just to ask my sister how she saw herself. Because I told my sister that what you need to worry is when Kiana just doesn't want to do anything. It takes us all. We all have our own path. Look, it took me 10 years to figure out how to do certain shit with drums that I saw this, not actual drums, but like programming drums and shit, that I saw young beat makers who I had 12, 13 years on come into my studio and do it just within seconds. It's just how it is. It's how we're wired. Some of us got a longer road. Some of us have a shorter road. But all of us have shorter roads and longer roads in different facets of life. That's just how it is. But I can see my sister and all of her unconscious conditioning. And after we got over the conversation about Kiana is doing fine, okay? Don't do the comparison thing. Don't throw her into a class and be like, how come she's not got the lead yet? and she's not doing it like this other little girl who's doing it. You know what I'm saying? Because the moment you compare shit, and I will say this till I blue or till I'm dead, okay? Till I'm blue in the face or till I'm dead. It's going to take the joy out of everything. It's going to take the joy out of everything. Your world, your universe, that's yours. Your creations, that's yours. Your kids, those are yours. Your dreams, those are yours. The comparison thing is for a reason. It's even more ways to keep us divisive. So there was this small opening, and I don't want to get into it on Hurricane because I realize like a lot of my storytelling skills, they got to be tightened up a little more, because I get all over the place. So within this conversation between me and my sister, I said, hey, can I just ask you something? Because I don't want to go off as like, sounding weird, I guess. That's just, I'm willing to play the part. And I said, how do you see yourself? And her look was everything. She couldn't even formulate an answer. She was just like, I said, what do you want? What are you doing? Why are you working? Why do you go to work? Do you go to work because you want an outcome out of it, or do you go to work because that's just what you do now? That's just what you're 39 years old, and it's just, hey, it's what I do. I go to work, and these are my thoughts. These are the only thoughts I'm allocated to have. It's thoughts of lack, thoughts of why, thoughts of when. No divine thought of her higher self. There was she didn't say, I'm a beautiful fucking mother. I've raised 2 kids by myself. I'm a hard worker. There wasn't even that type of shit. There wasn't even that type of like, it was straight up, I don't know. Well, what do you want out of life? I want to retire. I don't know. Well, do you see yourself doing your job for the rest of your life? And she says, honestly, the other day I was looking at jobs and I didn't even know what I wanted to do. And so I told her, I said, that should be a big ass problem. And that's the thing, is that the majority of society, all of us don't recognize that as being the problem. And then we all just say, well, this is our life. This is what God or whatever you believe in. That's not true. Abundance is everybody's birthright. Greatness is everybody's birthright. Achievement is everybody's birthright. Right? Not one of us were born to be a fucking worker. That's selective slavery. That's selective slavery. That's you just saying, okay, I have no higher thoughts on myself that this is all I'm supposed to be. And even if you take great pride in your job, man. I mean, I made a song called Grown Ass Man that literally is like an anthem for people who just bust their ass at jobs that they don't want to go to, but that needs to be celebrated. But there's a reason you don't want to go to that job, and there's a reason why you continue to go to that job. And so me just trying to enlighten my sister to the tiniest degree about, hey, you can create something up here for yourself, sissy. It made a very, very enjoyable night become very, very uncomfortable, because by this time her boyfriend is over there, and you could just feel the conditioning in the room. And let me say this disclaimer. Let me give this disclaimer again. I'm not a guru. I'm not a teacher, and I don't think I'm better than you. I am you. I used to sit back and think of nothing but lack. So I told her this. I said, is your brother dope when it comes to this music shit? And she gives me like a silly look like, yeah, everybody knows I'm dope. And what, man, do you know the praise that I get? But do you know what all I ever wanted to be was dope? I just wanted to be a good rapper. That's how much I love this craft. That's how much I love this culture. That's how much I love the wordplay. That's how much I love the cadences. That's how much I just love these masters of music. I wasn't fixated on anything but becoming dope. And guess what? I was saying a lot of dope shit when I was 29 years old. When I was that dinosaur and I became everything I feared, I was saying a lot of dope shit. So I gave her the analogy that I've been giving all of my people, man. Would you or I, ever get on a plane and hear the pilot say, I'm not really sure where we're going, but I'm pretty sure we're going to get somewhere? Who the fuck in their right mind would sit on that plane? and just be like, let's just see what happens. But that's what we're all doing with our lives. We're all doing that with our lives. That's what I did. I want to be dope. I want to be dope. Oh, shit. And through the detriment of comparison, every time I felt I did something dope, I'd go and listen to someone else who is perceived to be doper just because of success, and then I totally belittle myself. It was always fueled by my dreams, shot down by my fears. That's always how my mentality has been. And when you come from a childhood like ours to where, and I love my mama with all my heart, and I thank her because without her there is no me. But my mom was so fucking conditioned. She knew not what she was doing. She conditioned the fuck out of us. I asked my sister, I said, did mom ever look at you and say, you can do anything you put your mind to, right? No. And then when we do hear it, it becomes these cliches. Like I said in the first podcast, all of the building blocks for these amazing, amazing tools in life are now the biggest fucking cliches. When they say, oh, maybe you should just go take 10 deep breaths and calm down. Where do you think that comes from? Because if you're a meditator, you know what 10 deep breaths can do for you? But it just comes off as like, oh, that's just it's just what's said. But it was said for a reason. And now it's been so devalued. And it's been so just fucking, they turned it into bullshit. It comes off as hokey bullshit. So I'm telling my sister this. And I just start saying, I don't want to like throw you off. But if you're waking up each morning and you don't know who the fuck you are, welcome to your life. All I wanted to do was be dope. 29 years old, here I am dropping a CD. That's a dinosaur age in hip hop. I was dope. Plenty of people say, yo, you're dope. But guess what? Not one of them, I could never pay a bill, like pay a utility bill and just like sign it off as like, oh, it's because I'm dope. I didn't have the grandest vision of myself and of my work. It was like, I just want to be accepted as someone who's allowed to do this. I felt like I needed permission for everything in life. Look up imposter syndrome and see how we're all suffering from that. Like, it's fucking rampant. It's rampant. And so I hear my sister start speaking of my fucking niece, who should have the utmost confidence at her age. And I could see it leaking into my fucking niece, to where my niece is unsure. And so I'm trying to convey this to her. And I even told her, and all of you women look this shit up too, because you know what? I'm a cape for the women because I'm raising a woman. And I disrespected the woman that gave birth to that young woman that I'm raising. I was raised by a woman. Women are like everything to me. And they're so fucking dumbed down. And if you call a woman a queen or you call a woman beautiful, they think you're a corny dude hitting on them. If you call him a bitch, oh, he's a real nigga, or whatever the fuck all of these white bitches be saying, all of these brown bitches be saying, and any other color. Because everybody out here is a real nigga now. Like, that whole shit is the most detrimental poison to all of society. This whole keeping it 100, ride or die bitches, real niggas, all that shit. It's pointless. It's pointless. So I told this to my niece, and I told this to my sister. And I want all of you women to look it up. If you're a Christian, I don't give a fuck. All of you women should look up this piece of information, okay? Go find out, before we call God, go find out the different variations of what that word was, and find out why the femininity or the feminine side was taken out of that word, and it became just, nope, it's a man upstairs. Because before all of this shit, before we were all saying God, God, and praying to the dude upstairs and all this shit, the actual depiction and the actual word or the sounds they used, the fucking mouth noises that they strung together to try to even comprehend a creator, involved the masculine side and the feminine side. My niece needs to know that. As much as my daughter does. As much as my sister does. We all need to know that. We all need to know that All of us came from thought. It was our creator, whatever it is. We could argue about that till we're all dead, and then in the end, we end up being wrong. No halos given out. But we can all agree that it had to become a thought. It was manifestation before there is anything, is manifestation. Manifestation came to whatever creator's mind or whatever creator's being, and we all came here. And at one time, we were all sitting around with like, damn, there ain't shit to do but our minds. There ain't nothing to do but to eat, to gather, all of that shit, right? That was it. It was surviving rather than existing. So these beautiful fucking minds of ours started manifesting all this shit that we live in now. And all of the stuff that we take advantage of. And all of the shit that so many people who will see this video are going to use all of these ideas, all of this manifestation to discredit everything that I'm saying right now. And that's the beautiful paradox, right? Everybody's going to be like, oh man, you're dumb. Oh, Jesus is the only way and that's cool. So look up, damn, I keep fucking missing out on this, dude. I really want you guys to look him up, and I'll leave a link, and I will go back to my last podcast and leave links. John St. Julian. So look up JOHN space ST space JULIEN, and then he has another name, Baba. I don't know how to spell. I don't even know how to pronounce this. WANYAMA. Listen to that gentleman speak on the sacred secretion and all of the biblical teachings, being like self-development methods and all of the biblical like scripture and all of the symbolism about finding the Christ within yourself. I don't know if that's what's going on with me, but I know when I think about Jesus and I think about the Bible and I think about my fucking youthful mind coming to conclusions about like that. I think of symbolism before I even knew the word symbolism. I think about all that, and now today the Bible holds a lot more weight in my life. I'm seeing the 6. You guys are seeing the 9, or vice versa. Rather than just having to chase what the next man's telling you to chase in the words, you can actually read between the lines and you can go inside and not chase anything, and you can be like, oh, this is it right here. This is it. Because another paradox about teaching you all of this, not teaching, sharing, because I'm not a teacher, man. I'm not. I just want to share this. Another thing about all of this is I imagine it's very hypocritical because I do come off judgmental a lot. And that is just a paradox. You know what it is? It's contradicting. But guess what? Contradicting means evolution. That's just what it is. That's the polarity. It's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? I went by plenty of people on this little journey of mine that they were just brought into my life, and religious has been brought up, and it goes even deeper than that because I'm raising my daughter. I'm raising my daughter by myself. Yet her mom is such a huge fucking proponent of religion, and she just like converting her over the phone, which it's like this weird. It is this weird. It's this weird stage that I'm in right now. That I'm in life right now because I've gone on this journey to at first just get the scientific benefits of the mind and of meditation and just get like the focus and all of that, and then all of this other shit just started lining up, and whatever the fuck happened to me on my birthday, I stand on this shit even more today, and it is scary. It is scary. That was the scariest thing I've ever had happen to me. And I won't even get into why I was compelled to tell my daughter, but to have to sit there and tell my daughter, like, look, I'm going to go deeper on this, and we're just going to continue to create, and we're going to live a life of service and of contribution. And this is the best way I can contribute right now. This is the best way. And this is also pretty crazy because when I thought about me having a podcast, I thought it would be very much aligned with music and all of this. Let me say this, actually, and I think I'm going to start leading all of my podcasts with this. First and foremost, I would like to thank music, because without music, I wouldn't have went on this journey. I wouldn't have found any of this. It was just this dream of a dream, and music was it. and to detach from it and to find it again, to pick it back up, to evolve with it, to create it, to release it, to be vulnerable, to be happy, to be glorious. Everything within the realm of music has brought me to here. It's got me to here. And I love this podcast, man. It's very therapeutic because I can just sit here and whatever I feel compelled to speak on, I can speak on. So I do want to end with, this isn't just going to become like, oh, fucking guru self-development type shit. This is just what my frequency's on right now, you know? Because whatever I'm compelled to speak of and whoever becomes the first guest, wherever this takes me, but there is a beautiful happening going on with me right now. And I hope all of you guys can find that inside yourself. And I hope you can look at yourself and really see who the fuck you are. Because that conversation really made a lot of people feel uncomfortable that I had the other night with my sister. And I could see in my sister's eyes, her fucking eyes said everything, because I know her little brother said something that struck a chord, and it probably shook her very existence. And I love her boyfriend. He's a really cool dude, but unfortunately he had to come start chiming in, and I didn't want it to become like some political, religious type of fucking thing, because he was like, whoa, man, whoa, you're getting too deep. You're getting too deep. You know, it's a Saturday night. We're supposed to be enjoying it. And I was just like, you have no idea how much I'm enjoying this conversation by giving my sister this piece of information to say, hey, how the fuck do you see yourself, sissy? And why are you where you are? And if you don't believe in it, if you don't believe in anything that I'm saying, think about that God that you believe in. And that God manifested a thought that manifested all of this. And when he kind of shut it down, and I could see like the energy, it just wasn't the right time or place. And I realized, I was like, okay, yeah, you know, I'm going to be quiet because I do sound weird. I do want to end on this though. This goes to show you the conditioning of so many beautiful people around you. You know what I'm saying? And it goes back to the Bible. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. Come on, man. This shit's starting to like fucking make a lot more sense to me now. It wasn't supposed to be used to divide us. It wasn't supposed to be used to control you. It was supposed to be used to awaken us. A baptism on the inside. Now I'm gonna go down this road, and I'm gonna keep living my life in such a beautiful way and on such a godlike frequency, and I'm just gonna watch all of this manifestation happen. And back to what I want to end on, the conditioning about all this. Because they do not know what they do. And neither did I. For so long, I didn't know what the hell, I didn't know I was creating this life. I didn't know I was creating all of this lack. I didn't know I was creating all of this fear. I didn't know that I kept giving in to the monkey mind. So, we end the conversation. I can kind of feel it getting a little weird. You know what I'm saying? So I said, okay, we end the conversation. About, 20 minutes later, from my recollection, I step outside for a minute, and I come back inside, and my sister comes walking out with a fucking shirt of John Lennon on her shirt. John Lennon. People will most likely think, oh, well, he's a Beatle, that's why he's so iconic. As a musician, yeah. As a musician, yeah. I'm pretty sure, like, you know, he would have made it onto some t-shirts and people would be like, oh yeah, he's a Beatle. But it's kind of like with the Bible, man. If you look at John Lennon for being on a t-shirt just because he was a Beatle, or if you see John Lennon being on the shirt because I know what the fuck he was doing with consciousness about the trips to India and then bringing transcendental meditation and pushing consciousness forward, that's why he's an icon. That's why he's on the shirt. That's his contribution. If you think Bob Marley was just some lit-ass Jamaican getting blown every day, and you think that's why he makes it onto so much merchandise, or if you can look at him through a different perspective and be like, he was pushing consciousness. He was pushing freedom. He was pushing free will, free thinking. He was causing uprising. None of that shit happens without consciousness. So it goes without saying, I could not help my fucking self when I seen her walk out of the damn fucking room with John Lennon on her shirt. And I say, man, that's fucking crazy. You come out wearing him on your shirt. And her boyfriend chimes in again, oh yeah, you know, he's a Beatle and all this shit. And I was like, okay, if you guys think that's what solidified him being an icon and his contribution to this world was he was a fucking Beatle. Keep in mind, man, the Beatles sang bullshit songs like I Want to Hold Your Hand until they got fucking awakened. And shit changed. And people want to sit there and keep saying, oh, it was a psychedelics, it was a psychedelics, it was a psychedelics. And that may very well be true. But look up the meditation practice. Look up what they did in India. How woke the motherfuckers got. How woke they got. And then look at everything that John Lennon released. I'm not even a Beatles fan. I'm not even a John Lennon fan. I know what he did and I know what he stands for. And my cousin Adolfo, he puts me onto a lot of his shit because at least my cousin knows good music when he hears it and shit. And he would put me onto all kinds of oldies that my frequency isn't tapped into to paying attention at the time. Even though I grew up on a lot of this shit. So it was fucking funny how I try to have an awakening moment with conditioned people. And I allow their condition to just keep me quiet. Their conditioning to just keep me quiet and just be like, okay, you're coming off as a weirdo. I still want to be able to hang out with my folks. I still want to be able to go chill with my sister, to have a beer with someone. I don't want to totally exclude myself from society. So I just try to give it. And all I was doing was saying, hey, sissy, if you're not seeing a vision of where you want to be in your life, you're not going to get there. And if you're not instilling divine confidence into my niece right now, it's your fault when she's your age and she's not confident about shit. Because our mom didn't do it for us. And so I get shut down. And yeah, here we go. They come walking out the room with a fucking John Lennon t-shirt on. Or she comes walking out the room with a John Lennon t-shirt on. And he starts talking about, oh yeah, he's a famous Beatle. Beatle or icon, it's the way you look at it. Compel Podcast, episode number 3. Pretty cheap, bitch.
It's madness all month long at Ron Tonka Toyota. Head to TonkaToyota.com and bam! Lease a new 2018 Toyota Corolla just $179 a month. That's a new Toyota Corolla for only $179 a month. Only at Ron Tonka.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. You ponder life and you're just considered a weirdo. You feel like an attachment to everything, but then it becomes like this detachment from everything. Like we're all part of this one, but we're just battling against it. And then you realize just the very thought of life itself is just so devalued. It's just so fucking devalued. Not even in just the sense of people losing their lives like too soon and all the crazy happenings in this fucking universe, but just the thought of life. Just someone sitting down and really thinking like any of that stuff that we see far greater than ours can be ours. Just with thought. Just with allowing it to come to you. Like allowing it just to come, it will just come to you. Without prayer, but connection. Like it'll just tap into an infinite source. It's just there. It just becomes reality. And you become a weirdo. And you just want to teach something to people. Not even teach, you just want to share. We're all meant to think that it's weird. The paradox of the Bible is fucking blowing my mind. I just don't. Something that I thought was extremely silly, yet had to be valid with all of the self-development aspects in it. Even when I would hear all of that stuff when I was younger, I'd be like, at least it's telling you to do good things. But the stories and like everything that I'm saying, all these videos on YouTube about the Christ within and the chrism and the sacred secretion and all of the direct, not even symbolism, correlation into the Bible and the way that it's being practiced and taught to everybody. It's so backwards and inside out. That made you fear the snake. The fluorides in the water, as crazy as that sounds. They took ancient rights from us now. Just ancient rights. These are our rights as humans. And you can't speak about it because you're a weirdo. And you see so many beautiful people around you who would be so grateful to learn what I've been learning by accident, by purpose, and by accident, by mindfulness, and by all these signs and all of these years of me just wanting to be better. I remember in 2008, I went on this weird trip before I knew any of this stuff. Of course, I had my thoughts on the Bible back then and all that, but I wasn't on to this stuff. My child's mom used to always read me like numerology and stuff like that. It would always match up, and she would do the whole stars and the whole like being an Aries and all that, and like I was always fascinated by it. And I used to always get this astrology, and it would always like really, it was like this weekly astrology thing. I didn't see it weekly, but it was always so on point. At the times that it wasn't on point, I didn't care, it didn't pertain to me, but the majority of the time it was just so weird. I don't know if that's, I don't know what you call that, but that was like my extent to any type of like esoteric shit or any type of stuff that I'm stumbling onto now out of just divine guidance and just beauty and understanding and truth. I wasn't on any of this, but I remember I went on this campaign in 2008, a mental campaign, and if you like look up like MySpace and all this shit, it would be like this fucking crazy oh shit, historical artifact of like this weird thing that was going on, because I kept saying death to Tony. I kept telling myself that there was this mystery inside of myself, hence the name and all of that shit. All of these dreams and everything that I would wonder, how come I had all of this optimism and this world of pessimism and all these negative families and nobody dreaming and nobody doing all this and dealing with my curses and all the shit that I've been dealing with my whole life. I just kind of like had this duality in me back in that manifested itself crazy back in like 2007 and 2008, and it was like the mystery was like this entity that I wanted to achieve. I wanted to create this fucking person who is this superstar, who is this fucking, who has all of these abilities, which I realize I have now, and would not ever fucking succumb to any of the depression or be even affected to any of life's happenings, that everything was affecting me so much. So I went on this thing in 2008, and it was called, I just started saying, Desert to Tony. And even in my music, I talk about killing myself. And I keep talking about it, but it is like me killing all the fears of myself. And I'm not making all of these connections to this shit yet. I'm not seeing this. Like, fuck, dude, this is a path that, like I was realizing it back then. I was slowly having all of this shit happen in my life that I was just thought I was insane for being like that. And it's not until recently that I'm learning about all of these ancient fucking rights that were taken from us. I'm learning about all this, and I'm like, wow, I can't fucking say connect the dots more. Because it's just, if you do that in your life, and you're truly on here, and you're living with, you're on this globe, and you're living with passion, and you know where you want to go, you know where you want to take it. It is the fucking greatest gift that you can get. And when you fucking detach from everything that you thought was reality, and you're allowed to question reality for yourself. Look at all those beautiful fucking movies and scenes and movies and all this simulated reality that they fucking gave us to fucking either strive for it or throw it in your face to where you're just like, oh, you're not like us, and that they used, like, comparison became everything. You compare fucking everything, and once you realize that, when you are just so fucking happy with who you are and the thoughts that are on your mind, and you know that all of your best intentions are there, and you pair that with everything that they're fucking trying to shove down your throat through the Bible, but they're not giving you the actual benefit of it. You're not having the true baptism inside yourself. You're not having the awakening. You're not getting that. And it is like the craziest thing to sit here and ponder this, and to find this out now, and to realize that the vibration, whatever it was that made me come out here, I wanted to come out. I knew something was going to happen out here. And this is greater than anything with my career taking off, because now I realize that I manifested every single fucking facet of what my reality is. I did that with this beautiful mind that they conditioned. And they conditioned our parents to condition us. And they conditioned our ancestors to condition us. And we have these ancient fucking rights that are taken from us. And I'm a weirdo when I bring them up to my sister. And if my sister would wake up and see herself as a goddess who can do anything with that magical mind of hers, and she realizes that before anything there is manifestation, and once we know that in our fucking core, in our spirit, I think that's when we become true masters of this universe, and we become true masters of manifestation, because this is complete and utter happiness, and realizing that all of this other stuff is just because that is a right. That is a right. It's not about race. It's not about that. It's not even about fucking religion. It's not about that. What they did to us was they declassified all of us, or they classified all of us. It's classism. It's the have-nots and the haves, and it's just like people who there's people who will listen to this who are benefiting from fortunes that they got this fucking money from that. They don't even realize that's how far money would trickle down, and they don't even fucking realize, like, you're a rich kid because someone was access to this, and all of us fucking have-nots, and everybody who's on this side, we're not supposed to know it, we're not supposed to talk about it. When we do, we're fucking weirdos. It's happening out here, and you tap into something fucking wakes you up, and you are like, what have I been doing with my life? I'm 35 years old. If I would have known this, if I would have known even a percentage of this, I have no idea where I would be right now. But you can't play that game. You can't do the comparison, or you compare life to life. And I think it's also something that people tap into unknowingly too. The whole power of suggestion, the whole paradigm shift, all that shit that people really, really do tap into something without them knowing. And then it's harder for some of us, especially when when you look at all the decks that are stacked against you when you're born, and this is the last thing you're supposed to be thinking about, is spiritual awakening and the higher self. You're supposed to be worshiping it and keeping yourself down and fearing what you are, what you truly are inside. It's like you can't look around and not see like, whoa, this is all from the mind. All of this. And all of us, not us, I'm not part of that anymore. The fucking, so many people are just gonna live fucking broke and unhealthy and unhappy and in judgment and with hate in their hearts. And fucking always looking at the next person like that's for them. They're successful because they're different than us. And that is scary. That is so fucking scary and it's sad and it's how I live my fucking life. Fueled by my dreams and always shot down by my fear. Always shot down by my fear. Talking myself out of it, backing myself out of it, not seeing myself. Yeah, I had enough in me to where people saw shit in me. And people have always saw the dude who was about to blow up, and people have always I've always had like the waiting room of people in my life. It was like, okay, but they, even them, are so conditioned to just be like, whatever that was supposed to happen isn't gonna. And you just realize like this life that you create and how you can tap into it at any moment. Tap into that. And you can have all of those just fucking cliches that you hear in your life actually be building blocks for a higher form of self. And when you see yourself in that, when you are that paradigm, when you change that paradigm, you know how the fuck you want to look at yourself. And everything just falls into place, man. All of your enhanced morality and all of your enhanced compassion and everything just happens to you. And you can take it as far as you want, you can pull back and you can just be like, you know what, this is it, this is my connection to my source, to what we are. All of this is our gift. You weren't fucking born Mexican. You weren't fucking born American. You were just born. You were just fucking born. Like this is a gift to us. And they suppress it. It's so suppressed. It is like, buy our shit. And there's nothing wrong with having nice things. There's nothing wrong with any of that. That's a birthright to all of us. All of us deserve that shit, man. Especially if you put in work and you're doing it with the right intentions and all that shit. You know, I'm excluding all piece of shit people. You know, all people who do stuff to kids and all this shit. They don't even exist in my conversation. You know what I'm saying? Because I just know that there's a duality and a polarity to everything that's not even worth going into. It's just like, it is what it is, but you create your universe within this universe of that. And you become this source, you become the energy. Like you're able to move around it. It is what, I mean, you can observe it. It's like, okay, we're hitting a rough patch. My life's not crazy. The movement of my life is going through just like a wave. It's going through just a certain movement. You observe it, and you keep gaming all the obstacles, and you get through it, and you process it, and you're like, that was that. It doesn't have you like I was in my 20s, man. Fucking on a couch, just fucking depressed, and sad, and fucking scared, and addicted, and suppressed, conditioned. Fucking all of us think that that's just the hand we're dealt. all create what we think of. I looked at my sister and she didn't know what the fuck to say. And I know that feeling. I know that feeling when you're just like, damn, how do I see myself? And when I had that realization a few years ago and I was like, whoa, I became that. That's exactly what it is. And yeah, I did. I was like, I just want to be successful with the crib. And the crib was successful enough to where it paid bills and it paid for holidays. And thank God for that. And it gave me a lot of experience, and I made a lot of really, really, really special music that I still haven't even put in motion because I lacked on so much other shit because I would obsess, and the monkey mind would let me be stupid busy, not like smart busy. Just, and when I see that, when I was like, how do you see yourself? These weird moments or hypothetical situations of success would pop in my head, and I'd be like, it would be so hard to actually see myself dealing with that. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with that would be like, okay, so what would be your first move and how would you go about it and all this shit? It wasn't like, there wasn't clarity to it, there wasn't direction to it. It was just this want, it was just, oh man, well, I've been putting in work, my music is dope, and people really do like it. I'm giving myself all the different excuses. Well, I am only one person, and I am raising my daughter by myself, and it's just like, I don't have a manager. And you give yourself all these excuses, and then you finally realize all of this shit, and you just realize, like, damn, you just created it. You spent more time worrying about how it could go wrong and how it was going wrong, whatever wrong is, and then you start observing that. Well, what was even wrong about the situation? Because then you get to a place like right now, and then you look back and I was like, okay, that was just another building block. But you don't find all of that. You can't see that. You don't have that optimism in your life because it's taken from you. You become programmed. You become conditioned. You like shit because they tell you to like shit. And when you do have a woke moment, it's so elusive and it's so hard to fucking really grasp. And then you become the weirdo, even a bigger weirdo. I've always been the weirdo, and that's cool, man. I've always had these I've always had these like decisions in life that I realized that each decision at that moment would deem me even more weird, even more outside the box, even more just like, you know, left field, whatever people want to call it. But thank God, man, because I just see so many fucking robots, zombie. And this is me observing. I'm not judging nothing. But if it's a duck, it's a fucking duck. If it's quacking, it's what it is, and you just see fucking ducks, zombies, spiritually fucking twisted, spiritually fucking robbed, mindless consumers. Holiday to holiday to holiday to holiday. Everybody keeps on saying, oh, time's speeding up, and there's got to be something to that. But I think it's like all you think about, including myself, is the next pay date. So if you're living, oh man, my lips just feel chapped. Fuck it. If you're living week to week, you're just wanting that time to melt. There's no mindfulness of any situation. There's just group lack, group thinking, group divisiveness. There's no group consciousness. And then you become self. You become self, and you just realize you realize the games. You see the real talk, true talk. Fuck that. I killed that. You know, I've been saying true talk for 11 years now. I killed that fucking real talk shit a long time ago because all these people think that that's real, what they're talking about, what they're glorifying, what the fuck they think music should have been. Biting each other, all this shit. Like everything that just went the way it went, you know, to where I detached even more from all of it. This is true talk. This is like the truth. We look forward to our fucking pay periods, man. And that precious time to be mindful and to really just enjoy like what your kids are telling you about their fucking day, all of that's being robbed from us. Because it's consume, compare, consume, bills, holidays, birthdays. Keep the fuck up. living wage goes up, we don't get paid more. And then it's like, oh, it's just unhappy people, man. Unhappy, just fucking robots. We're just like living these fucking lives that weren't. It was sacred fucking rights and ancient teachings that I am knowing to be fact because I am going through it myself. That we are all being fucking lied to about. They call it the occult. They call it fucking Satanism. They call it like fear the snakes. Like people look into what the snakes even fucking resemble, man. Look into like just you know what? Just look into why you believe what you believe in. Look into that. Why do you believe it? Not so much like, oh, because this is what I believe, but okay, why though? Why? What is making the decision to formulate that opinion? What the behind the scenes shit, the consciousness in which you fucking are running your reality from made you have this opinion about something that's so fucking divisive or something that's so just whatever. And people don't fucking understand, like, yo, that is a sacred, like, fucking thing that we should all have access to. So we can always be thinking from a higher plane about shit. And we're not being controlled and conditioned without even asking to be controlled and conditioned, regardless of how much you stay clear of politics and religion and don't watch the news like I do all of that. I stay clear of all of that. I never fucking watch the news. I've never ever taken mainstream media ever. I keep that poison out of my fucking body. I've done that for over a decade of my life, just consciously, before I even got hip to the game on this shit. And it is being fucking taken from us. I wish I could give this to my fucking brother. Like, I want my brother to access this and be like, dude. And once you see it, you're like, oh, that's what I did. It is like the most fucking minute course corrections and certain degrees of decision making. Just a simple course correction, and now you're fucking on another. You are so far over here on the map, rather than being so fucking far away from where you were intended to go. By just course correcting on the most simple shit that you can find within yourself, the moment that you're able to observe your actual way of thinking and why you think that way, and who told you to think that way. Who told you to think that way? And regardless of how much you love your fucking parents, why the fuck are they broke? Why are we broke? Why are we broke? Why is poor acceptable? Why is welfare something we look forward to? And it's the norm. It's the fucking norm. And it's a blessing at the same time because they keep you in that fucking box. You know, beggars can't be choosers. My fucking daughter gets Medicaid, we get food stamps. Who the fuck am I to talk about getting anything? But why is that life? Why is that life? Why the fuck am I just supposed to fucking throw it away because of a construct of time they put into our fucking heads? They think about all that fucking shit. Oh man, you know what? That iPad that you're so happy you just got, that shit is boo-boo in 3 months. Fuck your shit. And it's just like, we wonder where time's going, and we're like, oh no, I want that 2019 truck. When it's like February of this year, it's like, man, every single fucking time I go into the store, it'll be like Christmas Eve, and they got Valentine's Day shit up. And it's just, my daughter's like, why does that bother you so much? And I'm always like, because it's just consume. Don't even enjoy the mindfulness, even before I knew what that was, or the moment of right now, the celebration of right now. You better get ready to fucking buy shit on fucking Valentine's Day. And if you don't, oh man, like, we're programmed, man. We're fucking programmed. We're programmed. Everything is just there to divide us in some way, shape, or form. So we're focused on that type of shit. To where we're just focused on that, and all of this inner self-development. Before there was any of this, there was nothing. I want people to like fucking comprehend that. Before any of this, there's nothing. Before anything, there's manifestation. We were sitting around as a civilization and was like, this is it? I need something on my back. That was a thought. We are all a thought. From whatever you believe in, we're all a thought, but it's being so, we're blinded from it, man. Like, it makes me want to fucking cry, but like, I felt like an idiot trying to tell my sister, like, yo, you should look at yourself like a god. Like, you gave birth and you fucking created two realities, and you fucking are the reason why they think the way they think about themselves. And nobody ever told me as a kid, like, hey, you can conquer anything you want. Nobody ever told that to a dreamer, to a little boy who's like, yo, I want to do music. And nobody was like, yo, you got this. It was strangers in the world. It was other people's moms. And people don't realize, like, this is like something that we should have all heard it. We should have all been like, you see it in your mind and you can create it. And we're conditioning our children like it's just workers. It's beautiful. And they stole it. Like, it's like, it's I'm so grateful. And it's nothing that like it's not gonna come easy. I'm not gonna be able to live this life like easy because it's everything that's anti what my daughter's mom is trying to tell her about. Like, yo, we all came. It's like she's seeing the fucking, it's the 6 and the 9 thing. It's like we're seeing the same things. There is Savior. There is that. I'm not saying that's exactly what happened to me and that's exactly what's happening to me, but it all makes fucking sense about all of those teachings and the meditating Christ. And why do they fuck with us? Like, we're all fucking workers, man. And you speak it and you are a weirdo and you know that people benefit from it. People will come together, like you will drop it, like group consciousness will change everything. It will change your life. Why is my entire family struggle? Like there's nothing but struggle. They live their life watching a fucking beautiful fucking simulated world. A simulated world of other people's dreams that come true because we're made to think that they're different, that it happened for them. And there's the wicked who are accessing this, and it's flaunted in our face, it's put on our money, it's like, we're dumb, they're making people fucking dumb, and you try to have a conversation with someone and you're just like, damn, we're zombies, they're taking our fucking spiritual rights, not religion, not faith, a right. It's a right. Once you fucking, the moment that you feel that, you will laugh at the word faith. You're just like, you already know it's something. And then it goes back to, well, no, I'm not going to argue with what it is. I don't know if it's a dude, I don't know if it's a girl, I don't know if it's a program, I don't know what the fuck this is, man. But why the fuck are we so dumb? Are we so unhealthy? Are we so fucking judgmental? Why do we sit back and just watch everybody else have great fucking lives on our couch? Killing our temples, destroying our temples with the food they tell us to eat, the shit they tell us to watch, the stuff they tell us to drink. think about the next paycheck. And then we dare to be like, whoa, time goes by so fast. Look at, and all the materialism and all the stuff that we all obsess over, that we fight over. We fight over when we start looking at it through a different lens, when it's like it's the same shit. It was about finding it within here. No one would give a fuck if they went inside. If they truly went inside and they just fucking got what it is that they had to rewire, no one would care. That's why I'm on here. I was so fucking conditioned, and it was taken from me, and my dreams were poisoned, and I allowed it, and I fucking put it into my head, and it was gonna be put into my daughter's head. She didn't even get to pick her parents. She doesn't ask to be here. Nobody asked for this fucking reality that we all argue over. And because you're unhappy, your kid is just gonna be a fucking unhappy person. Unless you find out what the fuck it is that we gotta connect with in here. And so they teach it to you. But they teach it to you in such a deceptive, fucking deceiving way. They put a band-aid on it. You need inner surgery, and they're throwing fucking water on your forehead. You need a total fucking rewiring on the inside. Everything, the spirit, the Christ, everything, whatever the fuck you want to name it, before it got to have before it had to have a white man's language. It's all the same shit, and then they fucking say, well, they're saying it in different words, so guess what? Argue about that. Argue about that. Keep it divisive. Keep it divisive. And if we cleared all that shit, you know how fucking small-minded and tribal we all are? We would all argue over fucking basketball teams. We would all start doing that. We would all find a reason to fucking separate ourselves. All of it. And it was my life. I blindly followed. I was a zombie. I was just in it. My whole life. And these teachings, they were cool and all this stuff, but it wasn't nothing that I felt this passionate about. It was just something that was like, oh shit, there's a silver lining here. This is really interesting stuff, really intriguing stuff. And then I submerged myself in it, and I immersed myself in so many other practices, and I fucking leveled the fuck up. I would watch, and I want people to access that. And now it's just like you're the weirdo. You're the weirdo. And it's right there for all of us, man. Divine confidence. It's right there. Christmas inside your mind. The resurrection, the activation, the light, the Christ, everything is within inside of us. We're not supposed to be their sheep or their zombies, mindless consumers. We're not supposed to be that. And it's not judgment to anybody, but truly look at your life. Truly go find what a paradigm is and be like, damn, this is what my one life is. My one life. I worry about what the fucking next bitch is thinking, what the next dude is thinking, what the next hater's thinking. I make up haters. We're supposed to tear down people for dreaming. We're all gods. We're all creators. We're all supposed to just be like, damn, man, they're actually creating something in that beautiful mind of theirs. Now let me get off of this like emotional tip and like let me be real, because I still have a sense of humor. I still clown. I still know what a fake rapper is. I know what all this fake shit is, and I know what it is to have an opinion on shit. I know what it is to still have fucking balance and just still be like, hey, you know what? I mean, it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, there's not like this emotional attachment to where I'm like, oh, it's so vital for me to even have that opinion. And now that I look at all of that fake fuckery, and I bring this up because I was raised by hip-hop music, and everything that I started learning was from hip-hop music. And it was just, it has been this fucking guiding force, this beautiful thing in my life, and then it became so detrimental because I was so attached to it, and I got so much shit from it, so much conditioning from it, and it was just like, I started realizing like, yo, all of this is an act. What are we expressing about ourselves? What are we putting in our music? Why do we all sound the same? Why does it all have to be the same? And I started thinking that at fucking 17 years old. At a very, very, very young age. I remember looking around right at the moment of the bling bling era. And though I liked so many of the songs and I was partaking in so much of the music, I still looked around at all the homies and was like, yo, there's something happening here, man. And then come a decade later, when shit was ringtone rap and all this, I kept telling people, like, you know, I'm not crazy to think that they're making us stupid. And that's no slight to any type of creation, because I can separate that now. I'm not dissing anything from that era. I'm not dissing anything anymore. I don't even have an opinion on that, because that's someone else's creation. The only opinion I will give now is of just fucking what does something for me, what resonates with me to where I can formulate one. Otherwise, it's just not for me. The music's just not for me. I know what it is. Every now and then I pop my head up and I'm like, damn, that's sad. It is what it is. But you gotta just keep moving. And with everything, with fucking everything, I'm always bring up fucking like where we're at and talk about music, because it was such a, I mean, it's what, like I said on the podcast, music is what got me to all of these teachings. It's what got me to everything. It was me always trying to power up and level up for this fucking dream of this music, for everything I was pursuing. And I still am pursuing, and that I'm not even pursuing, that I'm achieving now. So I access this, and all of this happens out here. And now I'm a podcasting lunatic to people. And I can see it when anytime someone overhears me speak of it, and I'm just like, man, you know what? It's for a reason, though. It's cool. It's for a reason. And it's all good. And it might even affect like the way people look at the motherfucking music, but I'm like, watch, man. You have to fucking understand what it is. And I have so many beautiful people, countless beautiful people that I had just conversations with, who got an album off of me and just like would see me like later on down the road, we would just cross paths again. And I can finally see what they were seeing in me, because I can finally see myself as someone who's worthy of that. I was able to like shed all that conditioning and be like, okay, that was always being fueled by your dreams. And then I got into my inner being, and it was under so much turmoil and so much conditioned thinking about a lower self, a lower frequency. I didn't access anything. I wasn't accessing what I was supposed to, as far as like the almighty higher self, of just what you know to be fact about yourself, about a true talent that strangers see in you. But you keep hindering yourself, and you keep fucking getting in your own way, and you keep breaking down. I kept calling them mental breakdowns, but honestly, I think it was shit that was aligning in whatever this is that happened, and that is still happening, and that I need people to experience and find within themselves. I think that'll contribute more to my music. And I've always felt like my music contributed greatly to society, and it still does. This is real out here, man. Like, it's so real. It's so interdimensional real. You guys have no idea, man. It's worth crying over. It's worth looking crazy over. It's worth like sounding redundant over. It is worth whatever ridicule I must go through to fucking just even get on here and just speak about it and just be honest about it. You know, it is what it is. And it is what we make it. I just wanted to talk. You know, I just wanted to talk. I think I might even drop this one as episode 4. I'm finding my way with this just because, you know, I wanted to share shit, but the vulnerable side of me made me see that I was coming off as like this, like one of those wannabe people preaching that law of attraction bullshit to people who aren't realizing like you have to go within self, man. You have to like truly become a creator of this reality. You can't be like a wannabe with this shit, man. And I didn't want to come off like that. And then the one with meditation, it was just like the weirdest timing for me to make that, analyze that for a couple times, and then on my birthday have that happen to me. The scariest fucking happening of my life, me thinking death was happening, and having that instantaneous battle within thought, within self, within, like it was like the light and the dark, and it was me even saying, is this a vengeful God? Is this my way out? nah, this isn't, man. This is real. This is, and coming out of that and being like, what now? Like having that energy about it to where it was like, all right, nice fucking try. I think I know I shook something there. I shook it. It was like, nah, man, I'm standing on the motherfucking ground and I need to give this to people. I need to give this to people. You can shift matter, man. You can make your reality what you want it, man. That's what Jesus was trying to tell me. If you really want to break it down, man, you can find the Holy Lamp within self. You can find that within yourself. And you can stay as scientific as you want with it and keep all of that shit. But now that I see, after finding that YouTube channel, the very next day that it happened to me and I wake up and it was like clarity on fucking high definition steroids. It was just like, oh shit. It was like a created near-death experience for a reason. I don't know what the fuck it was. And that frequency that exploded in my head. I don't know what that was, man. And that's crazy as that makes me sound. I thank God for it. And I want people to access it. I want them to access it. Not a near-death experience. Not however you're awakening or whatever this is, that I'm so grateful for, however it manifests itself in your life, it will happen and it will be so poetic and so beautiful. And you will give two fucks. You will seriously just give two fucks. You'll just be like, damn, like, that's it. And then you just go create. Just create. Create. Just live with passion, man. Create. That's a blessing I've always had. It was at least I was working on my passion. It was always sort of, even through the mental turmoil and the depression and all the hardships, I was working on my passion and I got that. And now I can work on my passion with divine clarity and resource. Before anything, there's manifestation. And those words came to my head the very next day. And I was walking downstairs, pacing it, and just started saying it like as an affirmation. And it was like all of those years of all of this shit and me slowly starting to understand it. It was like it all fucking came together at that moment. And it became that simple. And I just had that visualization or that vision of just like humans just chilling as humans without anything. Nothing to for the betterment of life itself. It was just nothing. And it all had to start coming from here. And today you tell somebody that, they say, oh no, not me. Wait, you ain't human? You're not human? You don't have the same exact shit in your body? And not only that, but how dare any human think that they can't do anything who's not even disabled? And then you compare it to a fucking countless people who are disabled. And the spectrum of being disabled is so fucking vast and so dark and so fucking scary and unfortunate and just mind-blowing on why that we don't even have to get into it. But you want to say you can't do something. That's not your thought. That's not you saying that. That's the world saying that. The world, the conditioning of this sick matrix they got us in, man. We can detach from that and still be within this and contribute to within this. We can get within inside. We can breathe the light. We can fucking like manifest ourselves inside this cancerous darkness and just fucking illuminate that shit. Just be like, boom, at least I'm contributing this. At least I can get, and look, if I got two people who was able to access whatever the fuck I'm so blessed to access to do this and be like, damn, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy of what that's going to do for two people's lives. Two people's lives, man. I can only imagine what that's going to be in like in 30 years when they say like, oh man, he was just that random rambling dude on that motherfucking shit, that thing. But you know what? Instead of him being a rambling dude from the mountaintop, he was at the bottom figuring it out.
you know, speaking blissfully about his ignorance, but he was so happy about his ignorance because he understood it and he believed it inside. It was eternal. I want people to have that. I want people to access that. I gotta get on with my day. I'm gonna drop this as a podcast. Fuck it. It was actually kind of a test. I was like, you know what, just record yourself, man, and express yourself rather than try to come off as something. So I am gonna drop this. I love y'all, man. I'm speaking to the future, to everybody who finds this. It was supposed to come through me. It was supposed to come through me as someone who's not gonna blow your mind by being so different, who is exactly what you come from, everything that you come from, everything that you think, oh no, he doesn't know about that. No, I do. Just self-ignorance and just fucking doubt and just everything. I love every single one of you, whoever found something from this. And who knows what comes from this.